Good morning, good morning. So, welcome back to another video discussion for our medtech laws and bioethics. So, again, we are doing this video teaching as supplementary for your readings and for your researches that you are doing. So, the last time that we were discussing, what we were talking about was all about your RA8504, also known as the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998. So I hope that at this moment you already have watched the videos. If not, I will be putting the links down below. So please do check the first and the second part of our RA8504. And right now, what I am making is the part 3 of our 8504. And maybe you're asking, what else did I miss discussing about you, um or what did I miss that I am doing a part 3 of this law. But later on we'll get to that. Okay, so again, your RA 8504 was your Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998, and it was President Fidel V. Ramos who was the president at that time. And it is very much easy to remember that the date of approval was in February 13, 1998. O di ba, bago mag-araw ng mga puso na isabatas ito so that everyone will be protected. So, going now to what I want to add with this is your RA 11166. Your RA 1166 is also related to your AIDS Prevention and Control Act. So this act is now aimed to strengthen the Philippine Comprehensive Policy on Human Immunodeficiency Virus, your HIV, and your Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome prevention, treatment, care, and support, and reconstituting the Philippine National AIDS Council, or your PNAC, and repealing for the purpose Republic Act number 8504, otherwise known as the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998, and appropriating funds therefore. So technically, your RA 11166 is actually a law, an AIDS related law that actually repealed some of the parts of your RA 8504. And again, I'll be giving you the link of your RA number 11166 because there are actually, similarly to what we have in RA 8504, we actually have 9 articles, and the 9 articles in the different sections of your law was divided into those 9 articles. Very much similar to your RA 11166. The same thing also happened, although there were some changes and some rearrangement when it comes to the order of the articles, and also with some of the things that is very much important with regards to your AIDS law. So, still, your RA 11166 is a law related to your HIV/AIDS. But before I go to that, there are some key terms I want you to remember when it comes to your RA 1166. So these are actually the different changes that actually happened in your RA 11166. One thing that I also want you to notice is the one that is in bold, which is the evolving capacity of the child. So later on, the previously what we know in RA 8504 is that um, only patients with age 18 and above are the one who um, doesn't need guardians when it comes to your HIV testing. So meaning, if you are below 18 years old, you would need your guardian or your parent to be with you so that they will be accompanying you and they will be the one giving the consent for the testing. Although that is one major change, and actually one major change in your RA 11166. So what other things can we expect in this new law? So what we also have now, your antiretroviral therapy, or your ART. So your antiretroviral therapy was also included here. The different the the provision of your antiretroviral drug, and other things with regards to your art. Aside from that, bullying and discrimination was also highlighted in RA11166. Aside from that, your HIV and AIDS counselor was also included. The definition of your person living with HIV was also defined here, and we also have now your pre and post exposure prophylaxis. So the one that I was discussing before, your prep, those are very much common nowadays, especially here in the Philippines. It's actually gaining its publicity already. On the other hand, what one thing that I really want us to look at is the evolving capacity of the child. So, screening, testing, and counseling, as you know, should be voluntary. And previously, what we have is actually for individuals less than 18 years old, they would need a consent coming from their guardian. Okay, coming from their guardian. But right now, according to RA11166, all children within 15 up to 18 years of age, so 15 and above, the consent shall be obtained from the child. So you know you don't need a parent now to come or accompany their child for them to get your HIV testing. Right now, as young as 15 years old, we already have patients like that. Why? Again, it is because of the evolving capacity of the child. So technically, they already know how to decide for themselves, and maybe that is just what millennials are after all. Aside from that, one bullet that I want you to look at is the second bullet, young person. Okay, young person. So when we say young person, these are now individuals less than 15 years old who are pregnant. So meaning we're talking about women or at high risk behavior, meaning they have promiscuous behaviors that could actually predispose them or actually make them more vulnerable in getting your AIDS. So the consent shall be obtained from the child as well, no longer from their parent or no longer from their guardian. So for the rest of the children that is not covered by the first two bullets, the consent shall still be coming from their guardian. So I hope that is very much clear. So that is one very important changes that had happened in your RA 11166. So going back now, you've seen this, your RIVDA confirmatory test, but I want to emphasize that it is not a new confirmatory test. Okay? RIVDA is not a new confirmatory test for your HIV. In fact, the meaning of your RIVDA is rapid HIV diagnostic algorithm. Okay? So when we say algorithm, this is actually a set of processes or a workflow that we follow for us to be able to rapidly diagnose patients with HIV or technically suspected with HIV. So what we have here in the RIVDA is actually a flow chart of what needs to be done if um if your patient was sent for a what your patient was sent for a your patient was sent to a your national reference laboratory, which is your SACL in your San Lazaro Hospital. So if the patient is reactive, you need to perform RIVDA T1. So technically that is testing number 1. So as you can see now, most of the time we don't just simply release a result after one confirmatory test using your Western blot. We actually are using other we're actually using other methodologies as well. So here what we do is actually to perform three testing before we release your HIV as a positive result. Okay, so as you can see here, if in your screening test, okay, I want you to look at the algorithm now. So if you actually have observed if your patient tested positive or tested reactive in your screening test, we will now forward that to the National Reference Laboratory. So you would now perform your first confirmatory testing. So if it is non-reactive, okay, so I just want you to look at this one. If it is non-reactive, you will still advise the patient to repeat the test after 2 to 6 weeks. Okay, after 2 to 6 weeks, because there is a reason why it is it did have a reactive result when it comes to your screening. It is possibly, yes, you're false positive, but it could also mean the other way around. Okay, so on the other hand, after the first testing of your after the first confirmatory test, it tested reactive, you need to perform another test. Okay, you need to perform another test, which is um if the test is again non-reactive, so please follow the flow chart. If it is non-reactive, you will record it as an inconclusive result. So you will be repeating the rapid HIV diagnostic algorithm after 2 to 6 weeks as well, and you will now directly send the sample directly now to your SLH NRL. So immediately you will be having the test, not no longer a screening test, but it will now go straight to your SLH NRL cycle. On the other hand, if your patient tested negative reactive again, you will then again need to perform another confirmatory test. Again, if it is non-reactive, it will be recorded as an inconclusive, and you will be suggesting the patient to repeat their testing after 2 to 6 weeks, but this time it will go straight to your SLH NRL cycle. And if it is reactive, that's the time now that you release your result as HIV positive. So I hope this is very much clear with you now. So this is our very important changes that had happened to your RIVDA. So if you're gonna look back with our discussion before, I was able to mention there that there were actually some problems when it comes to the releasing of the results, because it is actually not standardized across all hospitals and clinics. And maybe this is actually now the answer of your DOH, of of our health system when it comes to your HIV testing. So RIVDA stands for Rapid HIV Diagnostic Algorithm. So so much about that. I also want to discuss now your Republic Act 10173, or the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Why am I also including this? So it is an act actually protecting individual personal information in information and communication systems in the government and even in the private sector, creating for this purpose a National Privacy Commission and for other purposes. So it's very important. Why? Because you know that one thing that is very much crucial when it comes to your HIV AIDS laws are actually the confidentiality of your individual. So no one can ever disclose the no one can ever disclose the HIV status of a patient, not unless the patient disclose it, or I am saying or because we have some exemptions. And again, I would want you to look at it on the second part of our video. Again, I'll be linking the videos down below. So Data Privacy Act of 2012, that is Republic Act 10173, it has 45 sections and divided into 9 chapters. So it was President Benigno S. Aquino III who signed it, and it was effective June 6, 2012. So this is the very reason now why you even in university we all actually have a consent form when it comes to your informations and data, and we're very much sensitive about that already. So, personal information refers to any information, whether recorded in a material form or not, from which the identity of an individual is apparent or can be reasonably and directly ascertained by the entity holding the information. So, any information that would directly and certainly identify an individual, we call that personal information. And you cannot simply disclose personal information of anyone to anyone. Okay? So, that is very important. That is also included in the Code of Ethics of Medical Technologies. So, aside from that, we also have privileged information. So, technically, what are the different informations that the Data Privacy Act of 2012 is actually safeguarding? We have your personal information, and we also have the privileged information. So, Privileged information, one such example would be any information given by a client to his lawyer. So such information would fall under attorney-client privilege and would therefore be considered a privileged information. So this refers now to any and all forms of data which under the rules of court and other pertinent law constitute privileged communication. So that is for your privileged information. So we also have your sensitive personal information as defined in Section 3, Chapter 1 of the Data Privacy Act. This now refers to personal information such as individual's race, ethnic origin, marital status, age, religious or philosophical, and even political affiliations. Those are sensitive personal information. So technically, if you actually come to a point when you are already practicing medical technology, um, take for example, one thing that we always ask our patient is, of course, their name and their birthday. As you can see, it's not included in the sensitive personal information, but it is included in the personal information. Okay, it is included in the personal information. This sensitive personal information, they can or they cannot mention it to you. Okay, but still we still have your identifier such as your name and then your birthday and your, of course, your serial code barcodes for your different patients. Okay, so as you can see, even the race, the ethnic origin, you cannot simply disclose that anymore. So about an individual's health, education, genetic or sexual life, you cannot also share it to anyone. So that is included in the sensitive personal information. And it is very important because all these things you are actually asking this when it comes to your HIV pre-counseling. Okay? So during the pre-counseling, you're asking actually the sexual life of the patient. But I haven't seen the a revised um I haven't seen a revised form or data sheet for your HIV screening test. So I'll be looking for one so that I would be able to show you what how did they adopted the Data Privacy Act of 2012. So aside from that, any information issued by the government agency peculiar to an individual, which includes but not limited to social security numbers, previous or current health records, licenses, or its denial, suspension, or revocation, and tax returns, are also considered as sensitive personal information. So specifically, established by an executive order or an act of Congress to be kept classified. So, similarly to what happened to Chloe, isn't it, in Crash Landing on You? There is some information. So according to the story, there are actually District 11. So those are technically classified information, sensitive information that cannot be disclosed to anyone. So having said that, now that is actually the end of this discussion. So RA11166 again is another very important law when it comes to your HIV AIDS. So please take note of these things. So again, thank you very much for watching and listening to this videos. I hope to get in touch with you sooner, or yeah, sooner than later, so that we will be able to ask and answer some queries that you have in mind. So again, thank you very much for keeping up, and this has been Sir Jomar. So thank you very much, and don't forget to smile and don't forget to pray. So have a safe and have a great day ahead of you. Thank you very much for staying, and goodbye.